Well, hello and welcome. I'm your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, Peter. Today with me are three of my heroes. Unfortunately, when we played last Tuesday, the audio wasn't good at all. We tried to do it in person and over webcam, over Zoom, but unfortunately it did not work. So we're gonna give you guys this recap, and hopefully it can do justice. So we have Rachel as Nanagon, Travis as May-Ighe, and Elliot as the luckiest cat of them all, Leander. So how are you guys doing today? Wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you guys a recap on what happened in the last episode, which was pretty much kind of the big battle I do believe you guys had. Adkara showed up, Amathys showed up. May-Ighe did get beat up, but he was mainly the target of that fight. You guys upgraded at the end of it, so my group of adventurers now got upgrades. They had to get approved by me first before they accepted their items, just because I want to make sure that I can know and see and knowledge of what they can do. That is also very important as a dungeon master. But we'll go straight into it at this point and give you guys kind of what happened. Eugene got up the courage and asked out Core on a date, which surprised the group. The group was actually really happy about that. This was going on while May-Ighe was talking to Iris.
Even though Leander had to explain what a date was.
Correct.
And she still didn't get it.
She did it, but she said yes nonetheless, which made Eugene extremely happy, and he pooped away to get ready for this date. The group had about 3 days to travel, so there was some role play, no combat though, and
a little combat we just did.
Well, you guys sparred. We had Nanagon and May-Ighe spar a bit, because May-Ighe want to get more. Not being the target of every combat, I think. That's what May-Ighe's goal is. What is May-Ighe's goal, Travis, at the current moment?
So his goal during that moment was he's getting sick and tired of being knocked unconscious. So he's trying to toughen up a little bit, and he knows Nanagon trains, and he's like, I need to get some sort of training in because whatever I'm doing, it's not working.
Yeah.
Question for the DM: in the long run, would May-Ighe be able to train with me enough if he made a point to mention it during our role playing mentions that he would be able to improve his Constitution modifier?
Unfortunately, this is not how that works. That would all be leveling no magical items or an intense amount of sex.
Okay, so that's not happening. What if I drink a lot of ale?
You know what? We can talk about that. Both in game and out of game. If you can drink a lot of ale and still be focused, will be good.
Look, it was a very heavy episode. May-Ighe's just on a freaking arc, man.
It is. But before we go any further, this episode will turn into a little bit of a dark scenario. So this is your warning now. If you're not comfortable with it, please go ahead and just skip. It will be towards the end, so you can just skip the end. But other than that, we will continue. Because once you guys landed, that's where you guys got your Irenes. So Irene split herself again into our 7 adventurers. So each and every one of them got to have an Irene, which now upgrades to 200 feet and can go through most things. Everyone will be kind of on a magical network that they can communicate with each other and have an open channel. They can obviously send private messages to each other so no one else knows, and can communicate with thought. Unfortunately, that being said, they can also have a lot of fun with that. I know some people have already. It's easier to have private conversations with that. But when the group landed on shore, the 2 lovely Panda brothers gave up their immortality to build the group a kind of a small port town, so it can be part of the war and connects to Greenest. Which this was the first time that our companions kind of saw that someone was willingly giving up their immortality. Because as Vahador has told you guys, they can't leave this ship. If they do, they will die. So that kind of instantly told all players that these two Panda brothers lived a good life. They are ready to have a nice little retirement and tossing cabbages at the group and having them explode in ninja stars. But after that, our group decided to make a march towards Greenest with Eugene's lovely penguin leading the way.
Ah, yes.
I forgot how this part came about,
Wow.
but I think it was Sanguine or Thoro.
The penguin took somebody's money pouch.
No, it was Toro.
Oh, that's right.
The penguin took Toro's money and slid and created ice. Toro immediately jumped after it and turned into a penguin.
Wearing a kilt.
Wearing a kilt. So if you guys saw the previous videos when May-Ighe kind of got abducted, and tortured, and then rescued by Eugene, the penguin ran on his stomach and kind of slid and created an icy path. And then when Core landed on it, she became a penguin. So most of the group actually followed Thoro and the penguin, except for, I do believe, Leander and May-Ighe. Those are the only two who decided to run a couple of miles because it was quite a distance.
Gotta remember, Leander has cat-like agility. It was a nothing.
Yeah, and May-Ighe has cunning action, so he's able to dash a little bit.
Which was great. It made a fun and unique time because you guys were able to kind of see them the whole time. And at the very end of it, the little penguin was able to capture each and everyone in the group while they were still in the penguin form and made them say the word quack in order to release them from the cage. Especially Core. I think that was quite funny. How did Core feel about that, Leander?
Core didn't like it, so she refused to say it. And everybody's like, "Come on, just say it." And she said it really, really low, but the penguin was not accepting it like at all. So she said it again, still maybe like a little bit louder, and he was like, "Nope." And then she finally said it out loud, and he was so happy with it that he let her out.
It was a fun and comical moment.
She cannot stand that penguin.
No, she can't. No, she can't. And I think that's one of the great things about the penguin and Core's relationship.
Considering she's a nature cleric, yes, she should love everything.
Absolutely.
She doesn't love that penguin.
But the penguin does now have a sword because he bought it from a guard for 1 gold because Thor let him keep a gold.
Yes.
So now we have a penguin with a sword and a town that no one knows where he went because he's walked off by himself. What can possibly go wrong there?
Nothing.
Yeah, we might start watching that penguin.
But once our group got back into Greenest, they were welcome. They were told to kind of take the afternoon off to kind of talk to themselves, regain their composure, maybe relax a little bit before reporting to the mayor and kind of filling him in on what's going on. The group decided to go to the inn and have a conversation in the middle of the tavern in Greenest. And how did that? What did you guys talk about? And not what happened, but what did you guys talk about in the tavern, so our viewers can know kind of what transitioned to da 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 da.
Well, I think a lot of it was basically just May-Ighe and the group filling Nonagon and Thoro in on why we were doing what we were doing. Because quite honestly, we went through that last major battle, not even really knowing why we were fighting these people, just that they didn't like our friends.
Yeah, exactly. So they had to catch them up on what happened from the beginning of time to the current moment.
Travis, we can't hear you.
I think you're muted, Travis, or something.
The Travis, there we go.
Sorry about that. But so from the beginning of time, it was when May-Ighe was adventuring for the first time before this group, talking about Adkara and Amathys and a little bit of Vidpick, filling everybody in as to who these people are and why we hate them so much.
Yeah, maybe straight into territory we shouldn't have been in with the little girl.
Well, I would say it's very interesting how your guys' interaction with Vidpick went. Oh, Vidpick's men, women, his units. Because you have right now you have more interactions with, I think, Vidpick's side than the Horde of the Dragon Queens or the cultists, because you guys haven't seen them for quite some time.
Yeah, it's I think it just got to a point where Vidpick was able to use his chemical warfare after he finally found where May-Ighe was, and then has just continued the pressure and continued the attack.
In which I know May-Ighe has had experience with Vidpick in the past, and soon the other groups will. Vidpick will make his appearance when the time is right, and when he does, something big will happen. So that's a little foreshadowing there, a little ominous. If I had ominous music, I would be like, ooh. Unfortunately, I don't. But as our players,
just play that horror theme.
As our players were having this lovely conversation, kind of getting everyone up to speed on Vidpick, the war, kind of what they were doing. One of our lovely companions, I do believe Nanigan, asked the lovely question that always gets everyone.
Is anyone listening?
Is anyone listening? Well, of course. There was 4 figures, cloaked figures, inside the tavern. One was at the door, not blocking it. One was at the stairs, not blocking it, and one was at the left far side window. One was at the right far side window. So you had 4 figures in this decent sized tavern. And this is where things got a little rough. So which one of you 3 want to tell how this went down?
Yes. So at first, we were trying to come up with a plan on how we were going to take these guys down. Very quietly.
That was definitely what we were planning on doing, was taking them down. We were not planning on doing anything else.
We decided several different things, which I believe caused the lack of communication, because they were going to see what they were all. One people were going to see what they were all about. Other people were like, let's just go.
Yeah, so here's what happened on May-Ighe's point of view. The question was brought if we wanted to kill them. Someone had said, kill 3 and leave 1 alive. And
I definitely said just to leave 1 alive. I don't think I ever said kill 3.
And then so May-Ighe's thought, okay, so that means so we're taking them out. And then without any communication, you see Iris's character say, I'm really tired, and then walk upstairs. And then Sanguine follows. They apparently were going to investigate who these figured people or these figured individuals were. And that's where like the communication got fuzzy, because they weren't exactly telling us that's what they were doing. In their brain, they're like, I'm going to go do this. but externally they didn't like communicate that. So we had like, as Leander said, a few different things going on, and none of them was connected.
And none of them was Leander's fault.
And so what happened, guys? What happened due to this miscommunication?
You get a May-Ighe who took 2 daggers and threw them at one of the cloaked figures, and it turns out the figure had arcane glyphs on it to set off a magical fireball, and it destroyed the building and killed mostly everyone inside.
So the tavern was filled with residents of Greenest, and unfortunately, due to the moment that one of the figures, which were mannequins with those glyphs, got hit, touched, or anything of that nature, all 4 of them set off and a fireball erupted from them, which destroyed the building. Most of it caught it on fire. Nonagon, May-Ighe, and Thoro got thrown out the building. Leander and Korg landed next to each other, but Leander's leg was broken, and I do believe Kor's arm was wounded, or was Kor fine? I forgot which one.
No, her head was bleeding. She was bleeding from her head.
That's right, her head was bleeding. Sanguine luckily had his reactions quick enough to dive in front. No, he saved Iris.
Pushed her out of the way of a falling beam.
Yeah, pushed her out of the way of a falling beam, but then held a beam. And this is where a DM made a mistake. The tiny hut takes 1 minute to cast. It is not an instant thing. So unfortunately, I didn't know that, and I didn't want to spend too much time on it because I want to keep my players going and everything. So I thought it was an instant cast because it was one of those just hey moments. But unfortunately, since if I would have known that, that whole thing would have went out completely differently.
Yeah.
But
then Nonagon's reaction would have made more sense.
Yeah, no, I think your reaction made more sense because I think subconsciously you knew that it wasn't supposed to happen like that. But it's fine. We make mistakes sometimes. It's learning from it. We can make up some excuse along the way on why it was activated so quickly. But Iris activated the tiny hut, which saved Sanguine and her. They couldn't really do much because they were trapped by piles of wood. But our rest of the group had a very interesting time doing their thing. So now I don't want to go into too much detail about what each and every one of you guys did, as in step by step. But you can go around and just kind of sum up what you were doing when the fire happened and kind of a little bit of the aftermath. But not too much because we'll go into that in the next part.
Well, I think we started with Thoro trying to get the people away from the area. And I set off a loud cry to try to get the villagers either moving or get them to respond to the fire.
May-Ighe, I know, ran straight in because he heard Kor screaming out for people on the inside. So May-Ighe just rushed in trying to find Kor's voice.
Leander was with Kor, who was patching him up in the middle of a fire.
Priorities.
Yeah, she successfully did that and was helping Leander up so they could get out of there so she could properly heal him. But you can't do that if you're stuck in a fire.
And she was still bleeding too.
Yeah, she was also still bleeding the whole time.
Which, as a dungeon master, I did take into account on her spells and everything. There was a percentage that she would have failed, or on her medicine check.
I don't think she casted any real spells until after this point, because she just used her
the medicine kit.
Yes, that was right. That was
medicine kit for inside the.
But there is also like an obscurity with the smoke as well.
Yeah, so the DC
she rolled higher for those ones and got good ones so that she could still do it.
Yeah, I do believe she maxed out her medicine in case something like this was to happen. Because I
Yeah.
think if you have like a 5+ in it, anytime you do it on a fallen comrade, they automatically heal 1 HP. Um, I think it's that or a feat. It may be a
That's a
feat.
healer feat
Okay, it's a healer feat then. Which
because I actually considered it, but didn't take it.
okay, so that's that. So during this time, yeah, Nonagon was not crying for help, but getting help. So this part would be a little bit more interesting because Nonagon comes back in trying to find people, but as she's doing that, May-Ighe already found Core and Leander and kind of was scooping them out. But unfortunately, they were about to get crushed by a beam or debris and all got teleported to your boy's date, Eugene, because Eugene had placed a magical rune on Core's staff without her knowing. And anytime she was like in that critical danger, she would teleport to him. So as Eugene's kind of setting up the mood and everything, he just sees 3 bodies plopped right in front of him. See how messed up y'all are, and automatically put together something has happened because obviously he can hear the explosion. And my God, he was so disappointed, so upset that immediately just got his stuff and went to go. Once he got dressed, he had to unchange and everything. But Leanne, tell me. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that moment really quickly.
So Leander is still hurt, both physically and emotionally, because he didn't start this. He's with a bunch of children. And he goes and he tells Eugene, wow, this place is so nice. He's trying to give Eugene like, oh, you did good. I'm sorry it went bad. And so he feels bad that Eugene doesn't have his date anymore. So you know what? He sits down and relaxes inside what Eugene has created and eats the yummy vegetarian food and just, chills and has a good old time because he doesn't want all Eugene's hard work to go to waste.
So Eugene spent, I think, the three almost 4 days getting this picnic ready. The first meal was in a church because Core's religion and everything. He, had this lovely meal prepared. They were gonna go on like a nice little walk in the backyard of the church, have a nice little picnic for dessert, watch the stars, and just talk. Like he pulled out everything he thought Core would like on this date, and then the 3 fuckers decided to drop in and say hi. But May-Ighe did not waste any time. He went straight back, and Cord followed. So May-Ighe, during that time, as you were running back, what was going through your mind?
That the party members had died. He wasn't exactly sure as to who's alive because not everyone was there when Eugene teleported them away, and so his only thought was to go back and try and save his party members.
And I wish we had Core here to help describe that too. But we'll go to Nonagon. As you spent the most time in the building. During the time, because Nonagon was looking for people, whether they were her comrades or just, I do believe, anyone in general, but mainly her comrades. Because she
specifically Iris and Sanguine. Before I went in looking for people, before Nonagon went in, because she's militarized, because she has so much training, she tends not to panic in situations like that. So the first thing she did was establish help. And then once May-Ighe, who had run in before her, established that he had found people, because I remember that we were able to establish that he yelled to Nonagon that he'd found somebody and that he was going to get them to safety. And he told Nonagon who he had. So her thought was, well, let's find Sanguine and Iris. So she went in with a distinct purpose. And she's very focused. So when she goes in, that's what I'm gonna do.
And which luckily
Doesn't let anything like kind of.
Luckily, you didn't die, which was amazing. Luckily, Nagan was able to pass Constitution saving throws from pretty much just smoke. Unfortunately, Nanagan was super close and getting to that hut. And I think you eventually got to the hut, but you passed out right outside the hut because unfortunately you couldn't breathe anymore.
Yeah, so after I uncovered the hut and we were able to establish that they were going to sit it out, I'm going to say she was really mad. She was like going to leave them, but she wasn't able to signal to May-Ighe the way he wanted, because I guess you asked for flares, which I don't have, so, or magic of any kind, really, for doing that.
I think what I had asked was just that, like...
Well, you asked for someone to send something up into the air.
No, what I had asked was that if you need, like, to get out, to tie your 50 feet of rope to an arrow and shoot it.
I don't have arrows.
And that will go in a direction. At least I can pull on the rope to pull you out.
Yeah. That wouldn't have helped Nanagan. She has rope, but she has no arrows or anything like that to throw.
Could have been a javelin, some sort of throw.
I have 2 hand axes. Actually, I have 1 hand axe because I threw one at the end of that first battle.
I swear, after this game is done, I'm banning hand axes.
What?
Every melee character has hand axes.
Hey, Peter, no. Let the players, if they want to use hand axes,
it's convenient. It fits on your belt.
Let them use the hand axe and let them learn from their mistakes.
Leander doesn't have a hand axe; he has a great axe. So
it's not that great. You've died once.
Oh!
Wow. That was not because of his axe.
Wow! How long were you waiting to say that?
3 seconds.
Okay.
Didn't even think. You just let it out. No filter.
It's okay. Leander has a very important role to play, whether he knows it or not.
He doesn't feel like it. People keep picking on him. That's why he doesn't like Iris.
That's all right. May-Ighe almost became mom for Nanagan. Like, that was like almost a nickname that you got so close. So but you didn't understand the Mother May-Ighe joke, so I just kind of dropped it.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I was like... Well,
but if you had gotten it and been like as upset with everybody being so laughing at it, you would have been mom for the rest of the time.
All right, so we'll move on until after the fire. So the fire was actually kind of a big deal for the folks. Actually, mainly our party, because I think that's the first time that a mistake cost lives. Which this is kind of where the dark moment comes in. So I'll kind of set up for May-Ighe, because during this time after the fire, Leander was just chilling, enjoying his time. But there was some things that transpired. Nanagan and May-Ighe patched each other up, had a conversation. We won't go into that too much. Thoro was running, telling people what's going on. But once the group met all back up, this is, I think, where the moment we can talk about. Thoro didn't like May-Ighe. Thoro threw a punch at May-Ighe.
He tried to, but he missed.
He missed. Luckily, May-Ighe is very dexterous. But they had some heart. They're going to harsh out some words probably next session. But I think the important part is that May-Ighe. So we're going to take a moment and talk about May-Ighe and kind of his, in my opinion, his dark moment right now. Are you okay talking about May-Ighe's dark moment, Travis?
Yeah. So after the incident that he had with Toro, he had just stormed off, needed to take a moment by himself. He ran into Eugene, who wanted to talk to him. And May-Ighe said, hey, I'll talk with you in a few minutes. I just need some time alone. in which Eugene gave him a disc, a magical disc, um, to allow me to go anywhere I need to so I can have my moment. Until I went 400 feet in the air. And may I, at this moment, this is the lowest point that he had been in with this group. And he removes all of his shirts, his cloaks, and then he took out one of his daggers and started cutting into his left forearm, scraping the skin and spelling out the word learn on his forearm. And he drank his last potion just to make sure that he wasn't going to bleed to death. But he was having a moment of self-harm. And just tears were just rolling down him as he was reliving the moment that he threw the daggers and saw everybody in the tavern just burnt to a crisp. And he had been reliving that over and over again. He comes back down, and that's when he meets up with Nonagon again, who was apparently standing right behind him, and he didn't notice. And Nonagon took the dagger and saw...
Which I still have, by the way.
Yeah, you still have it. It's my nice dagger, too. It's
You'll get it back when I feel like you're ready.
You're on timeout now.
And so Nonagon saw that I had wounds and helped me to get cleaned up, not through magical means, but through what? What was it? Apothecary ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you guys head back to the church,
Natural slow healing.
which met Iris and Core and the rest of the group. So yeah, you guys all met back up after that a little bit. I think that's kind of where the role play kicked in. They role play for a little bit, just talking, kind of understanding, and they will role play more when we meet on Tuesday. I think the ending of it would be with Sanguine, who decided to detect evil in the area, and he got a ping, and he followed it towards the outskirts of Greenest, where there he met Amathys. Amathys tried to recruit Sanguine, just letting him know that he's, if he keeps with May-Ighe, that's a lost cause, that he's gonna die. So why not come on a winning side? Sanguine, being Sanguine, kind of gave his royal "fuck you, nope, I'm gonna stick with May-Ighe. He's a better person than you are." With annoyed Amathys, but Amathys left on a note of tossing a bag full with small tiefling horns, which was a attempt to scare and intimidate the group. But luckily, May-Ighe saw through that, or he did, maybe he didn't. We haven't really touched much up on that because she said this was, her horns, which is May-Ighe's daughter. And
Adoptive daughter.
Adopted daughter at this point.
Oh, no. Adoptive sister. Sorry. Adopted
sister. My apologies.
It's sister. No, it's okay. I said daughter too, and I'm like, wait, no, that's wrong. It's little sister.
And yeah, anyway, he's raising her the best he can. But luckily, from what May-Ighe knows, is as long as she remains in Tolis, she is safe. whether that's true or not, he can only take the words of people he knows. But the group ended, I do believe, all together, right? You guys ended up no, except for Leander. Leander was split the whole time. The rest of you guys ended up together, correct?
Yeah. But we did go back and get Leander, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was.
We didn't just leave him there.
Yeah, Leander followed. He was just really in the back. He's still kind of in the
Right, because Core was going to go back and get you, but then Iris was afraid she was going to get lost, so Iris led Core back to the church.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the group is together except for Eugene. He's not there. And I do believe
sulking.
he's still sulking somewhere.
Yeah, he pulled a Gandalf.
I mean, can you blame him?
I don't know if he's going to make an appearance next session or not, but we'll find out. So that was kind of the session, kind of to recap in a quick section based. They had an upgrade. They got to turn into penguins and slide down in shenanigans. They role played the discussion, kind of get everyone up to group. Explosions and debris happened, which was a lovely role playing, and I actually think a great reminder to these characters to know that you can die outside of combat in simple house fires, explosions. So you're not. So you can have 700 HP points, but if you're suffocating, you're suffocating. Or if you get piled by debris and the weight is just so much, you ain't gonna go anywhere. Which I think is a lovely reminder to characters and players, because a lot of players and characters will always assume, in my experience, that their characters will only die in combat, which that is not the
That they're
case.
invincible
Yeah.
to other points of life
I've
except for
been there.
combat.
Yeah, I've been there as a player. I thought that too. My DM, Travis knows my DM back in the day. He really said he was not a merciful DM, but he taught us good things. I was very grateful to have him as a DM. But he did scar me for life. But they got some role play, and we will pick up. I think we'll probably pick up with everyone at the church. That's a good spot to pick up, or at the house you guys spent when you guys were in Greenest. One of those two locations we'll pick up on. Do you guys have any final words for our viewers? Maybe stay tuned, see what happens.
Just remember that Leander is the best one.
Just remember that May-Ighe is the most broken one.
So what does that make Nonagon?
What am I going to remember Nonagon?
No,
I want everyone to remember Nonagon is the badass one.
Okay. With that being said, please like and subscribe. Help us build this into something we can even be more proud of. I'm proud of everything one of my players for showing up every Tuesday is astounding. So like, comment, subscribe, show your friends. Help us out as much as you can. Because who doesn't?
Anybody wants to draw us a water bunny and send it to me, that'd be great.
Yeah, if you want to draw these characters, by all means.
And if you want to draw a sea bunny being cooked for dinner, please draw that.
No!
On that being
It's
said,
not going to be a very substantial thing.
I'm your friendly neighborhood Dungeon Master Peter, and thank you for tuning in and watching. We'll see you guys on Tuesday.